Knowing yourself is the beginning of all wisdom. It is the mark of an educated mind to be able to entertain a thought without accepting it. Educating the mind without educating the heart is no education at all. The educated differ from the uneducated as much as the living from the dead. The roots of education are bitter, but the fruit is sweet. All who have meditated on the art of governing mankind have been convinced that the fate of empires depends on the education of youth. No great mind has ever existed without a touch of madness. Those who educate children well are more to be honored than they who produce them, for these only gave them life, those the art of living well. Education is an ornament in prosperity and a refuge in adversity. Education is the best provision for old age. The best way to teach morality is to make it a habit with children. The one exclusive sign of thorough knowledge is the power of teaching. Wit is educated insolence. The habits we form from childhood make no small difference, but rather they make all the difference. All men by nature desire knowledge. We acquire a particular quality by acting in a particular way. Our youth should also be educated with music and physical education. Education and morals will be found almost the whole that goes to make a good man. To learn is a natural pleasure, not confined to philosophers, but common to all men. It is evident, then, that there is a sort of education in which parents should train their sons, not as being useful or necessary, but because it is liberal or noble. Education begins at the level of the learner. Those who know, do. Those that understand, teach. To write well, express yourself like the common people, but think like a wise man. The mathematical sciences particularly exhibit order, symmetry and limitations, and these are the greatest forms of the beautiful. Life in accordance with intellect is best and pleasantest, since this, more than anything else, constitutes humanity. Wise men speak when they have something to say, fools speak because they have to say something. Great men are always of a nature originally melancholy. Whatever lies within our power to do lies also within our power not to do. If you would understand anything, observe its beginning and its development. Anything that we have to learn to do we learn by the actual doing of it. People become builders by building and instrumentalists by playing instruments. Similarly, we become just by performing just acts, temperate by performing temperate ones, brave by performing brave ones. It is this simplicity that makes the uneducated more effective than the educated when addressing popular audiences, makes them, as the poets tell us, charm the crowd's ears more finely. Educated men lay down broad general principles, uneducated men argue from common knowledge and draw obvious conclusions. There are branches of learning and education which we must study merely with a view to leisure spent in intellectual activity, and these are to be valued for their own sake, whereas those kinds of knowledge which are useful in business are to be deemed necessary, and exist for the sake of other things. The wise man does not expose himself needlessly to danger, since there are few things for which he cares sufficiently, but he is willing, in great crises, to give even his life, knowing that under certain conditions it is not worthwhile to live.